This is the manual TraceWeaver flow. Use it when you want to see every decision the agent is making. What is source evidence? What becomes authority? What gets planned? What gets implemented? What gets reviewed? And where the cycle repeats. The first part of the manual process is not implementation, it is intent shaping. tw-strategy, tw-ideate, tw-grill, and tw-brainstorm help turn rough direction into source evidence the project can reason about. tw-strategy is used when the work needs product direction before detailed requirements. It captures the larger goal, constraints, non-goals, success shape, and the reasons behind the project direction. It is useful context, but it is still not implementation authority. tw-ideate is for option generation. It can produce alternative approaches, compare trade-offs, and help choose a direction. The important boundary is that ideas remain candidates until requirements review turns the selected direction into approved authority. tw-grill is the pressure test. It looks for missing details, contradictions, unverifiable claims, unstated non-goals, acceptance gaps, and validation questions. It is especially useful when the prompt sounds clear, but the shared understanding is still too thin. tw-brainstorm organizes the shaped material into candidate needs, assumptions, risks, acceptance criteria, verification ideas, and validation questions. It helps prepare the material for review, but it does not approve those requirements by itself. tw requirements review is where source evidence becomes authority, or fails to become authority. It checks whether requirements are clear, testable, bounded, and connected to stakeholder needs. The result may be approved requirements, held claims, rejected scope, clarification requests, or gap records. The authority triad is the project baseline. Requirements.md says what is allowed. Traceability matrix.md links needs, requirements, verification, validation, and evidence. The intent contract records the current baseline and the boundaries that must not be silently changed. After requirements are ready, tw-plan turns approved authority into a bounded work slice. The plan should say what will change, what must not change, which requirement owns the work, which tests or smokes will prove it, and what validation remains held. Before implementation, tw authority gate checks whether the plan is actually allowed to mutate the project. If authority is missing, stale, contradictory, or out of scope, the manual flow stops. That stop is a feature because it prevents the agent from coding from an assumption. tw work is the implementation step. It changes code, docs, scripts, or fixtures inside the approved boundary. It should keep the work test first where possible, run the relevant verification, and link behavior-bearing changes back to requirement and evidence anchors. After work, tw-traceability-check looks for behavior that has no approved authority, missing anchors, missing tests, stale evidence, or generated view drift. This is the part that stops small undocumented changes from becoming invisible product behavior. Review then splits by surface. tw code review checks behavior-bearing code, scripts, fixtures, skills, manifests, and tests. tw-doc review checks requirements, plans, traceability matrices, intent contracts, validation records, and status or hash evidence. If either review finds a real issue, you loop back to tw work or to requirements review. The manual cycle repeats at the gate that failed. A code finding loops back through tw work, then traceability check, then code review again. A weak requirement loops back through requirements review. A documentation or evidence issue loops through doc review. You do not restart the whole project, you repair the failed link in the chain. tw-debug is the dedicated debugging route. It comes into play when there is a failing test, a regression, a production symptom, or a runtime behavior that does not match the approved intent. We will give tw-debug its own deeper video later, but in the manual flow, it belongs before repair work, so the fix is grounded in the real failure instead of a guess.